Hello everyone again. So today we have Vauxhall Corsa 2015. It's 64 plate in the UK. So the engine management light is illuminating on the dashboard. So we are going to ignore the tire pressure monitoring system fault. So when I connected the scanner, and this is the fault code that I have got, it's P0171. so at the moment it's not present, but the customer says that the fault occurs occasionally, so the engine management light comes on and off. So as you can see, the live data parameter, as right now the engine is at closed loop, and also the A12XER heated oxygen sensor 1 or bank 1 is just fluctuating from it's 600. Okay, so peak to peak is 0.655 volts, and and 0.11. okay, it's this is the down stream or post cut sensor value, which is right now you can see it's 0.695 or something like that. But the actual issue we have got here is the short term fuel trim is right now the ECU is adding 25% of fuel to the to the injector. So the long-term fuel trim is plus 32.8, so which we clearly have a problem with the air fuel ratio. So that may be the vacuum leaking somewhere, or maybe the fuel pressure too low, maybe oxygen sensor faulty, or maybe injector blockage. So if I rev the car, now the engine is running on 2000 RPM, but as you can see, still the long-term fuel trim is being added, and also the short-term fuel, just it's it's minus 31. So I'm going to wait for a little bit until the ECU calculate this value, and until process this value, and then see what is going to happen. But long term fuel trim is still high. It's still plus 23.4, which is no good. And also the oxygen sensor value is also no good. It's just fluctuating between 0.11 and 0.65. It's approximately 600 millivolts high and 110 millivolts down. This is the emission evaporative canister purge valve resistance to be checked, and the resistance is 16.2 ohms. Okay, next step is to check the supply voltage to the emission evaporative canister purge valve. So the ignition is on and the connector is disconnected. Not sure if you see. So no voltage or bias voltage, and this is 12.4. It's the battery voltage. So with the ignition on and connector disconnected from the purge valve, the voltage is alright. Okay, now I'm going to check the purge valve, the charcoal canister purge valve with the scope. I have connected the scope lead to the control wire of the purge valve, and now I'm going to start the engine and leave it and see the signal pattern of the purge valve. Okay, as you can see, with the ignition on, engine off, we have got 12 volt at the control wire. The control wire from the PCM to the purge connector valve, or the ground side of the purge valve. Now I'm going to start the engine. So I have started the engine. So we still got 14 volt on the ground side. So it means that the control wire is not grounding by the ECU, so the path is still not provided, or the path is still not providing by the ground path is still not providing by the ECU to the control wire of the purge valve. So we are going to wait for a bit until the engine has reached its operating temperature, and then you will see. Now, as you can see, the purge valve is being grounded by the ECU. Let me do this part. As you can see, now the purge valve is being grounded by the ECU. So this is controlled again by pulse width modulated system. So as you can see, this is the on time of the purge valve, and also the when the magnetic field flux or the the control wire is on and off. You can see that let me increase the voltage to 50. So this surge, and that's due to the spike in the magnetic field in the purge valve coil while it's collapsing, or it's becoming on and off. Now, as you can see, so this is the battery voltage or source voltage, which is approximately 14 volts, and then start to ground here, and then cut the ground pattern back, and the spike is created due to the magnetic field collapse. So that the emission or evaporative canister purge valve is also operating. So now we are going to go for the fuel pressure test. So now I'm going to check the fuel pressure on the system. So the fuel pressure is 4 bar. So it stays at 4 bar. Okay. बस
हो गया
इंजेक्टर
हमारा चक्कर
ये इसमें एक से बिल्कुल नहीं निकलता है. Okay, now I'm going to disconnect this purge valve, evaporative emission charcoal canister purge valve, and then I'm going to blank this or cover or blank this and start the engine and let until the purge valve is operated, and then mechanically check whether there is any output from the purge valve, emission or petrol or evaporative fume output from this one or not. Okay, as you can see, when I blocked the evaporative purge valve port, so as you can see the purge valve is still operating, but I have disconnected the input pipe to the inlet manifold, and the fuel stream has returned to a normal. Okay, as you can see the engine is off, and I disconnected the evaporative purge valve, and I'm going to test that at rest position, because now it's in rest position or in de-energized position. So if you can see, let me zoom that in a little bit. So now I'm going to apply vacuum to the purge valve hose. So as I am applying vacuum to that, no vacuum is holding, so this is completely open right now. If I zoom it out, and you will be able to see. So now, if you see, this is completely open. So that was the reason, even at the fuel control system at its open loop, when you start the engine, as I will show you, the fuel term is going to a plus condition, or the fuel stream is going to a positive condition. That was the reason, because that was the purge valve is stuck open, so there is no fuel evaporative or vapor can be stored in the charcoal canister. Okay, and this is the new purge valve solenoid. I have just ordered from the dealership, and now I'm going to test that one and see if we have a proper vacuum. So So this is the flow direction of the evaporative emission or emission to the. So I'm going to connect this here. This is the valve here, and okay, let me show you. Yeah, this is the valve here, and now I'm going to apply vacuum to it, as you can see. So it's properly holding the vacuum, and so this is the new one, and the one which is faulty, and that was the old one which is here. Let me once again, I'm going to, so this is the old one. So let me, because this is, so it's not holding any vacuum at all. Okay, now I'm connecting that back. I'm going to connect that back. So I have connected. So I have connected the old coating valve back, and this is the new one. So right now the new one is off. Okay, now the purge valve is activated by the ECU. And we still got here 13 point, the short-term fuel trim is 18, and it has jumped back again. So long is 25 point something like that, 27. So it means that they, with the purge valve activated or deactivated, there is no any change to the short-term fuel trim or to the long-term fuel trim ratio. So now I'm going to block completely the port which the purge valve hose is connected to it at the inlet manifold. As you can see, the fuel trim started to return to negative, as you can see now, with the purge valve hose port to the inlet manifold is blocked, and the fuel trim has gone to negative. So now I'm going to wait until it's stable. So now you see and the purge valve solenoid is energized, but right now it's disconnected from the port at inlet manifold. So now, as you can see, short-term fuel trim is 5 point. See, it's changing, switching from negative to positive, but it's okay. So now I'm going to put the new purge valve and start the engine with that, and you watch that what reaction on the fuel trim we will have. So this is the old one I have taken out, and this is the new one I'm going to install. So this is the direction of the flow, or the vapor flow, or the fume flow, whatever you call it. So okay, I have installed the new purge valve solenoid, and as you can see, that's the new one. And now I'm going to start the engine, and you watch the okay, I've started the engine, and as you can see, it's jumped to 19.5 again, but the purge valve is still deactivated. It's not energized by the ECU. So the fuel trim started to go from positive to negative. So also, as you can see, the purge valve solenoid is energized by the ECU. So the solenoid is energized by the ECU, and this is the fuel trim. So right now we have got minus 3.1. That's very good result from this repair, from this stuff. But one thing I want to mention here, that I definitely recommend this type of electric part like solenoid or actuator to get a brand new one, because yesterday I did install the old one, the used one, but it was the same open. But unfortunately I didn't check with the hand-held operated vacuum pump, so I did change the oxygen sensor, which I'm going to compensate for the future, because I cannot return that one once you have used that. And also I have changed the injector fuel rail, the injector with the fuel rail pack together, so it didn't change anything. So finally the problem was that the purge valve was stuck open, so, and there was no fuel vapor could be stored in the charcoal canister, so that was all the time open, and so the fuel vapor was escaping while the engine was at stationary condition, like the engine was off and the car was parked. So when the engine was starting from the cold from the beginning, because the purge valve was open, so there was no any vapor stored in charcoal canister, so the just the air without any mixture was coming from the purge valve hose to the inlet manifold, so that caused the P0171, I think, to trigger by the computer. P0171, I think it was. So I hope my mistake during this task can help someone not to make the same mistake as I did. Thank you for watching.